Ni hao, huaiying. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dirty Mind Podcast. My name is Dirt, and I am a pig, and my name is Dirt. How about that? So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's the first podcast of 2025, so we're probably going to talk about 2025 because that's what year it is. It's 2025. We're going to talk about games. We're going to talk about how weird the video games are going to be, how weird this year is going to be in general. And there's a very good chance that somewhere along the way, I'm going to talk about vegetables and or herbs. But we'll see if we have time for that. Before we get started with all that nonsense, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Old News.
I got nothing new for you.
Guess what, everybody? We know that the PlayStation Portable, also known as PSP, was pretty cool. But how about that PlayStation Vita that's going to be coming out? So the PS Vita has already been announced. But what you don't know, probably, is that it's going to have two control sticks, right? You know how the PSP only had the one stick on the left side? So if you were playing a game that's a little more like a traditional third-person or first-person game, you would have to hold down one of the buttons, like the top, the L or R, and then you move the stick to be able to look. So you can't really look and move at the same time, and it's super annoying, but you don't want to say anything because the PSP is so cool. Well, guess what? The PS Vita is going to do away with that problem entirely. There's going to be two control sticks, one on the left, one on the right, and you're good to go. It's going to be great. It's probably going to be the coolest device that has ever been made, and it's going to stand the test of time. It's probably going to, I don't want to say take over the PlayStation and Xbox world in general, but they're probably going to become equals. You're probably going to want to sell your PC just to have a PS Vita because you're not going to be using anything else. You're not going to want anything else. You're never going to need a Nintendo device. It's all about the PS Vita going forward. And not only does it have those two control sticks, right? It's also going to have a resolution. Get this. The screen is going to have a resolution of 960 by 544 pixels. And I can't even count that high because you're like multiplying those two numbers together. It's so many pixels. It's getting close to 720p resolution. That's nuts. And that is just gracious. So much of detail is available for you to soak in with your eyeballs. Just throw your eyes directly onto the screen and just let it wash over you. It's going to be great. The PS Vita is going to change the landscape of landscapes forever. So look forward to that and continue being adorable. Look at you with your little nose and whatnot. All right, bye. Welcome back. So, everyone knows that video games continue to be video games, but 2025 is going to be a little bit of a different one. So what kind of games do we got? Well, in no order of release date, we're going to have Kingdom Come Deliverance, which kind of is already out, but I don't know. I'm not following it too closely. Civilization 7 VII. Isn't that crazy? I feel like they just did 5, and now we got 7, which is more than 5. We got Sniper Elite Resistance. So I think they're going to be using resistance bands, which are like the stretchy things that you use for working out, or it's going to be a crossover with Resistance Fall of Man from Insomniac Games. I don't know for sure which way they're leaning, but it's probably going to be one of those two options. We got Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I could not be less enthusiastic about. And then, Grand Theft Auto. So all these games are just, I think, indicative of a year that is going to be I don't want to use the word disappointing, but I will say it's going to be impossible to live up to expectations that have been placed on us thus far. And that's kind of disappointing that there might be disappointments. But you just look at the number, okay? Look at the year 2025 written out. It's such a beautiful number. You got 25 is 1/4 of hundo, and it just looks nice because you got 2025. It's just a good looking number, I think. It's just a beautiful looking number. So we expect with this quarter of a century situation for there to be games that are quarter of a century worthy, that make you think, man, we have come so far since the days of Keen, right? Keen was a good game, but it's a little old now. Star Wars: The Old Republic, Halo Combat Evolved. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. So we want some leaps. That would be great. But the landscape of games right now, it's beyond hit or miss, because you can have a game that is genuinely fantastic, and they make one little change, such as maybe nerfing some weapons in a PvE, and then everybody, to quote the Joker, loses their minds. And I get it, because you don't want to see something that is so precious and beautiful like a baby penguin just get completely ruined, even though it may not be completely ruined. It's like you take the baby penguin and you put him in a little tiny sweater, and it's just a teeny bit too tight. And it's like, yeah, it's too tight, and it probably doesn't match the color scheme of his fur or feathers or whatever penguins have. But it's not going to be super detrimental to the existence of baby penguins in the future and all that. But you want the games to be as good as possible, right? Well, not necessarily, because there are many gamers, and I have also fallen into this category, admittedly, who do want some games to fail. And I don't think it's much of a hot take to say that, but there are developers or game franchises where there's a big chunk of peeps who just don't want it to exist. And I'm the type where I think it has nothing to do with the popularity of a game. It does have something to do with the developer and how powerful that developer is, though. So, Ubisoft, they've been having some tough times financially, and I didn't exactly stand up and go, oh, gracious. I put my little hooves on my face and go, oh, gosh, golly, those poor producers and designers and whatnot at Ubisoft, that is so awful. I should send them more of my money to help out. That's not exactly what my reaction was. It was more akin to throwing a bonfire party where I got Ubisoft-related posters and such and set them ablaze. And, I like Assassin's Creed. It's pretty good, some of them. Some of them pretty good. I had a lot of fun with Assassin's Creed 2, for instance. Even Brotherhood I really liked. And they made some other good, Splinter Cell, Rainbow Six. There's been some good Ubisoft games, but as of late, they just seem like the type where they would not think twice about selling your blood to vampires who were only going to pay like 13 cents per ounce. I don't know what the running rate is on blood, but they would be like, yeah, no, that's good. That's a good deal. I'll go with that. Because money now is better than potential money later. I think that's the phrase. I think Gandhi said that. And when it comes to big developers who they think they know what they're doing, and then they don't do what they don't be they think they know what they do and gonna do. They think they know what it be, but when it comes to what we of seeing for them do, we know that they don't know what they did. So we're going to take a real quick break, and we're just going to listen to today's sponsor, and it's something I'm pretty interested in, as compared to usual, where I'm also interested in it. But this one, I am also interested in addition to the other ones that I was interested in. Here we go. Have you ever looked at a trash can and thought, my goodness, I wish this looked like one of my least favorite individuals? Well, guess what? We've got custom trash cans that can be shaped and colored and designed and printed to look like your least favorite people, whether that be a celebrity or your neighbor Thomas or your colleague Winifred. Doesn't matter. Anybody you want, anybody under the hot sun, we can do it. We can make them look like that. Doesn't even have to be a person. It could be your cousin's cat named Turtle, who's just super, super cute, and it makes you annoyed at how cute they are, and you got nothing. You know that you can never compete with Turtle because Turtle is so adorable and it makes you angry. Well, guess what? We can make a cat-looking trash can, so when you throw your wadded up newspaper rolls into the trash can, you can be throwing it at something that looks like that cat that annoys you. Now, we have more trash cans that look like people, like humans, Homo sapiens, but, we can do other species as well. It just requires a little extra upcharge. It's like around $303, somewhere in that vicinity. But yeah, any type of thing or people, person, whatever, a place, we can make it look like Detroit, Michigan. We can make it look like Columbus, Ohio. We can make it look like maybe the Bahamas. If you're like mad that the Bahamas is so far away from you, doesn't matter. Whatever you want. We can make the trash cans look like whatever. Now, granted, we're not using the best printers in the world, and sometimes we have to rely on just using markers and crayon, but we try our best, and there's a little bit of endearing style to that, where it has that handmade feel, if you will. But overall, they're pretty good quality. They're okay. They're fine. They're fine. They are acceptable. They are satisfactory. They exist. Okay. So get your custom trash can today and throw your trash in something that deserves it, right in their face. Okay? Do it. Use your money. Do it. Do it. Use your money. Do it. Do it. Use your money. Do it. Use your money. Do it. Thank you. So why do I think that this year is going to be a weird year for games? Well, I think this is going to be the type of year that is really going to be offset by one particular game. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a big deal if it actually comes out this year. And there's going to be a whole lot of comparing it to that game. And also, there's going to be, on the flip side, there's going to be peeps who are like, you can't compare it to GTA 6, okay? This is an indie game with 4 developers, and it's just a 2D platformer. Stop comparing it to GTA 6. And then there's 3 or 4 people in the comments replying to that comment saying, yeah, but it's not as good as GTA 6. Look at the graphics. It's just not as good. So there's going to be a whole lot of that. And then here's my prediction. when we get Grand Theft Auto 6, eventually, if it's real, there's going to be sort of a weird subset of reactions where it doesn't matter if it's even better than Red Dead Redemption 2. There's going to be the people, at least in the early stages, who they're not going to say it's garbage, right? They see the value. They see the quality of the graphics and the gameplay and the story and all that business that Rockstar is usually real solid at. But they're going to complain about something specific that has to do with a very intentional design for the game, whether it be like, oh, this is just like a previous one. This is Vice City all over again. Or there's already like 300 games based in Florida. Why are we doing this again? And maybe just maybe there's going to be a select few interesting individuals who are going to look at it and be like, why do all video games have to force you to break the law? I don't want to break the law. I didn't think that a video game where the name of the game is quite literally a horrible crime, I didn't think I was going to have to do a crime. And so there's going to, and also obviously there's going to be, this is probably a smaller percentage of people, but there's going to be a percentage of people who just don't like the number 6 for various reasons. Mostly because it looks like an upside down 9. And it's like, why don't you just be yourself? You know, just stand up. Why are you so lazy? So there's going to be that. And I think there's going to be a lot of conflict around it. There's going to be other developers who are afraid. We've already seen this. They're afraid to put out a game like anywhere near it. Like even in the same month, it doesn't matter if it's 3 weeks away. It's too close. You know, and like if I get Grand Theft Auto 6, and I'm not 100% positive that I'm going to get it, at least not right away. I don't know. I'm not that excited. It's just a game. If I get it right away, I don't feel like I'm going to be spending all that much time on it. Like there'll be a few days where that's my main focus, and then I'll go back to No Man's Sky, and I'll go back to something else. Maybe I'll play a little more of The Long Dark. Which, by the way, this is not for 2025, it's for 2026. But Black Frost, Long Dark 2, that's coming. It's going to have co-op. How about that? 2, at least 2, maybe up to 4 players. I don't think it's confirmed necessarily. I also didn't really spend too much time researching it. I was just excited that there's going to be a Long Dark 2 because it's been a minute. 2014 was when the Long Dark came out. So I'm glad I didn't play it when it came out right away, because then I would have had to wait a really long time. I didn't play it till like 2 years ago. But yeah, there's gonna be some weird. It's gonna be a weird climate for games, not just in the sense of comparisons, like a negative comparison, but there will be comparisons going the opposite direction as well. And I'm not going to elaborate on that because from the time that I started saying that sentence till now, I forgot what my original point was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a teeny tiny sabbatical from that discussion, and I'm going to talk about what I would like to see more in games. Seymour. Suddenly Seymour. Seymour is a funny name. When you hear Seymour, it's interesting because that can be a sentence in its own. C, and then MORE, period, Seymour. You know? That's just, it's like an instruction. It's like, buddy, you're intentionally putting on metaphorical blinders. You need to see more. Yeah. Hold on. Somebody is is having the bright idea of sending me an email right now, and I gotta put this fire out, so to speak. And I'm back. Wow, what a break that was. I feel refreshed now that I answered an email. Goodness gracious. So, what I'm hoping to see in video games coming up, hopefully this year, but who knows, is I want games to go back to having their own identity. Having this individualism where it doesn't seem like they're really trying to fit into a pre-established genre or subgenre. I think that was the reason that oh my goodness, Concord. I was about to say Covenant. Didn't remember the name. Concord, they were just trying to be like everybody else. And you just can't do that. You just can't do that. Some games can get away with it, where they're like, hey, the Battle Royale genre, that's really popping up. Maybe we try our own hand at that and make billions of dollars. And some can do it. But I don't like it. It makes me want to take somebody's desk chair and just like tilt it just a little bit, like a 5-degree angle, like just enough to really mess with their hips in the kind of way where it's like long term they're probably going to need physical therapy, but that was their fault. That was their fault for trying to get in on a genre that didn't need any more games. I probably took it too far. That's probably too much. In retrospect, that was a little much, I went off the rails. My temper got the best of me, as it often does, and I went to a place that was just dark. It was dark, and it was dingy, and it was rude. It was rude of me. And I'd like to apologize to the desk chairs, not the desk chair company. They know what they did. But the desk chairs themselves, they were innocent in this. They didn't need, they are also the victims when it comes to altering, tweaking them so that their equilibrium is off. That's not nice. They don't deserve that. And I would like to apologize to them specifically. So as I was saying, whenever you're trying to make cowboy caviar, I think one of the issues that you can run into is you overdo it on the corn. And like corn is fantastic. You can't get away with you can't get away you shouldn't ever get away from corn. Corn is always you should always corn. But you got to remember that corn doesn't really have a ton of nutritional value inherently in itself. You want to really mix it up so that the corn looks like it's only around 1/5 of the total cowboy caviar dish. So if you like avocados, which is fine, it's acceptable. If you like avocados, to each their own, I suppose. You can have some avocados. You do not want to have too much, though, because it's just the absolute worst thing you can do while you have a pulse. You want to get some red onions that are nice and diced up. You want them to be as small as possible. It's very easy to have large slices of red onions. You want it to be nice and small. Black beans, of course. I feel like black beans and corn, they just go together so nicely. I've seen black-eyed peas, not the band, the peas, and whenever I've eaten them, I always feel like, did I just eat cardboard? Soggy cardboard? I'm not sure. Now, I like cardboard, so it's not bad, but, it's nice to occasionally have food that tastes like food, but that's neither here nor there. Bell peppers are always great. Red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers. It don't matter. Jalapeno if you want a little spice into it. And then this may or may not be divisive, having cilantro up in there. I personally do not enjoy wasting an opportunity having cowboy caviar and not having cilantro. I gotta have my cilantro in there. Does it taste a little bit like soap? Maybe. It depends on where you're coming from, when the last time was that you brushed your teeth and all that. But I've never disliked cilantro. I don't have that gene in my body that makes it seem like it's a crime against humanity to enjoy cilantro, so that's nice. And, get some lime juice in there, some seasoning. You don't want it to seem super plain. But, yeah, a good cowboy caviar, it's all about the ratio. When you're looking at it from above and it's been mixed in all together, you don't want any one color or shape to stand out as being like, oh, okay, this is a black bean dish. No, black beans are part of it, okay? They're part of it. They were invited to the table, and there were napkins set out. There were 2 different types of forks, one for the salad, one for the mozzarella sticks. They were really... The red carpet was rolled out for them, but they are not the star of the show. Nobody is. That's what it's all about. This is not an oligarchy. Okay, everybody is equal. You got to have that even distribution in the cowboy caviar. So I'm a little bit passionate about that. One thing that I'll do, this is adjacent, I guess, to that discussion, is I'll have some tacos where it's just black beans and corn. That is it. Black beans, corn, and some seasoning. Heavy on the cumin, and some of the other basics, garlic powder, onion powder, maybe a little smoked paprika, stuff like that. And then you just warm up your tortilla, and you call it a day. It is good. It is good quality. It's not the type of meal where you're going to be inviting the governor's wife over, and the governor as well, of course. You wouldn't invite just the governor's wife. That would be silly. But it's a real solid lunch when you don't have a ton of time, but you don't want to just be throwing a bunch of chicken tenders and shoestring fries into the air fryer again, even though it's a great opportunity to continue eating the deliciousness that is the Stubbs Sweet Heat barbecue sauce. You cannot go wrong with that barbecue sauce. And then that may throw some people off. You might be thinking, Dirt, are you not a pig? Like, why are you invested in barbecue sauce? That seems suspicious or dangerous. Well, yeah, but guess what? Barbecue sauce was not made for pork. It was not made for pig. It was just made to enjoy random things like fries. I don't really know what the original purpose of barbecue sauce was, but I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was not for pigs specifically. It was probably wasn't even for meats. Okay, it was probably just so that somebody could have another option for dipping a cucumber in, because they were running out of options. They went through everything, and it was like, what else am I going to do with this cucumber? Am I just going to eat it raw? I can't pickle it because nobody's pickled it before. So, barbecue sauce, boom. And no one has used it for that purpose since, because it was a horrible idea. But not every first idea is the best idea. I think that's if there's one thing I want to get across today, that's it. That's the message. Just because it's the first idea doesn't mean it has to be the best idea. In fact, it's usually the opposite. If you want to have an idea and you have that idea first, you have that first idea where you're like, oh my goodness, I had an idea. you don't want to have your best idea right away because then it's all downhill in a bad way from there and then on. You want to have an idea that's like 30% there, where you have room to do more ideas, a lot of better ideas, and a few worse ideas. Sure, you don't want to start at zero because no one will have any sort of trust in you. No one will look at you and be like, yeah, I can see there's a little potential there. If you start off with your worst idea, they're going to be like, maybe we should put you into a padded cell with no windows. I think that's a good option for you. We don't want that. Speaking of padded cells, I have some new sweatpants. I went to a store with a name, and I got some sweatpants. And for the first time in my life, I got sweatpants that looked, dare I say, professional. Like, they looked nice. They go with a sweater really well. They're like this tan, khaki color, and I don't really go for khakis in general. I don't go for clothes in general that much other than blue shorts, but these were really classy looking. They were $16, which I thought was very fair. And the one thing, my one qualm about him is that the straps or the ties, whatever, in front, where you do the loop-de-loop and pull, and your sweatpants are looking cool. It's a little thin and like way too long, so you tie it up so that your waist is all snug, and then you let it droop, and then the strings, they go past your knees, and it's like, why would you do that? I don't want those flailing about. I don't want to run the risk of stepping on those when I'm walking down the stairs. It's dangerous, okay? There's a safety issue, okay? EH&S, environmental health and safety. That's what we're all about. That's what the only world knows, what the world cares about, when the world goes, where it's going to go. Look at the potato. I think rosemary only ever really goes into my carrots when I'm sauteing carrots. I feel like I don't use rosemary for anything else. And it's kind of sad because the rosemary's just sitting there, and every day it's getting closer and closer to being expired. And the only time I take it out of the drawer is to put them on some carrots, some little diced carrots that are being sauteed in a little bit of oil and some other seasoning. And rosemary, ground rosemary, ideally, is the hero flavor. There's no doubt about that. But I feel like I would be underutilized, and I would feel a pit in my stomach if that was all that was going on in my life. Was I was dug out of a drawer just to be dropped on some carrots. And that has happened in the past where I was living in a drawer temporarily. Technically it was a cabinet. I was living in a cabinet temporarily, and someone did bring me out to put me on some carrots, but they thought that, I was a cooked ham, which was not the case. Boy, was that an interesting conversation. It's like, why is the ham talking? So I know what that feeling is like, more or less. And it's tough. It's tough, We go about our days feeling like we don't need any sort of assistance with our walking. We don't need any walking sticks or canes. And then the next thing you know, ouch, my knees hurt from looking under the couch for a napkin. And then it's all, after that, like, forget about it. Insurance is going to drop us. We are just too much of a risk. Goodbye. So I think it's time for the lucky color. Today's lucky color is Cyber Grape. Super fun. Cyber Grape. It's a metallic purple. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. The name is probably better than the color, but the color hex code is 58427C. Once again, that is 58427C. A pretty nice purple. It might have limited uses. I don't really have an idea of what you would use it for in terms of an accent or a primary color. It's probably more of a support secondary, tertiary color, but I think it's nice. It's pretty cool. It's a good color. It's mostly the name. With a lot of these, probably with half of these lucky colors, that's what it's all about. It's all about the name. But take a look. Keep an eye out for cyber grape out there in the world. If you see some cyber grape, you're gonna have a grape day. And before we leave, just remember you gotta stay informed. You gotta stay informed in life, but not too informed, because then you'll realize how horrible people are, and it will make you sad. So just strike that balance, walk that balance beam, do a backflip, and then regret it immediately. All right, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much, and thank you, and bye.